The City Ground, the destination for us today. We're just 5 points separating the two clubs ahead of kick-off. It's another big one this Sunday afternoon. All the build-up on the way ahead of full match commentary. It's Matchday Live and it's Nottingham Forest against Leeds United.
That's an absolute belter! Oh, it's in from Longstaff! Okafor! Dominic Calvert-Lewin!
Well, good afternoon and a very big welcome here to Matchday Live. I'm Rich Williams, your host today, joined by two former Leeds United superstars. What would you like me to say? Managers, players, whatever you want.
I'll take a superstar.
You can take superstar. Do you
I
want
think he's a bit more
superstar,
humble
Simon?
than me.
Supporter.
Right, we'll go with that. Former manager anyway, Simon Grayson and Michael Bridges with us here in the studio. Guys, it's great to have you here. Final match before the international break, or if you're a former footballer and manager, chance to basically improve your handicap at golf break is what that's known as. That's what you're looking forward to most. But before we get to that, we have a huge game today. Bridget, let me come to you first. I'm just, you know, when you start getting towards kick-off, you're like, oh, right, here we go, we're here.
You've had your Red Bull as well.
I've had my Red Bull, yeah, I'm ready to go. It is that moment where you start thinking, right, another big match and some potentially big points on the line here.
Yeah, absolutely. The Premier League, we all know how tough it is when you get back to the Premier League, how tough it is to stay in there. And every game, anybody can beat anybody in this league. That's how tough it is. So you're excited, the players are excited. It's another opportunity to go. And like you say, for me, this game is huge for both teams for so many different reasons. But obviously, it's all about survival. And for Leeds going there, I think it's a must not lose. We've got to go there with the right attitude, but have a massive belief in ourselves. And I think it comes out with fine margins as well. Defensively, we've been leaking a few goals this season. We've been creating chances but not scoring them. Today is the day that we must be clinical. To get some over, because this team have got a new lease of life under a manager that Simon knows very well. Yeah,
and you said in terms of a must not lose, potentially looking at it that way. I mean, it's hard, isn't it? You look at this fixture, and I know, Simon, from a managerial point of view, it's one game at a time and everything. But then you do look at this run that's coming up next as well, with the likes of, well, Villa at home and then City away and Chelsea and Liverpool at home. So 3 home games out of 4, but, you know, teams right at that top end of the league. Yeah. And you do look at this as an opportunity, Simon?
Yeah, of course it is, because you feel that you can beat anybody on any particular occasion. But I think there's probably a little bit more pressure being put on today's game, given the results yesterday. You look at the teams in around us, quite a few won. Obviously, West Ham winning, Everton and Fulham. So today, as Bridgie said there, I think it's so important that we don't get beat, because one, it'd dent the confidence of the players, but also it would give Forest a massive lift to get the 3 points and close the gap on us, which would be disheartening going into this international break. And you always want to finish before the group of games before you go into an international break with a positive mindset and a positive result if possible. So let's hope that's proved to be the case.
And especially knowing the games that you just mentioned that are coming up after that. But like I say, in the Premier League, at home at Elland Road, I think that's what's going to be key this season for Leeds United in the survival and doing well in the division. It's all about that home mentality and using obviously the Elland Road faithful to their maximum, because Sunderland are doing it at the Stadium of Light. We've seen Burnley are producing that. It's all about your home form. That's why I'm saying away from home, when you're going to places, forget about where Nottingham Forest are in the league. It's all about going away and not getting beaten, trying to come away with something.
Yeah, that's a big thing. That the form at home will be key going forward, but we still have to get results away from home. The away form hasn't been great. Number of goals that we've scored so far away from home hasn't been great, which obviously limits the opportunity to win matches or get something out of matches. But it's a good starting point for us today against the Forest team that we know are in the changes of the realm, with Dicey being in charge. But it's an opportunity for us today. We should be going there sort of confident we can get something. Yeah,
I mean, it is worth saying, like you mentioned, you know, Nottingham Forest have clearly not had a good start to the season. They are under pressure as well. They're under pressure in front of an expectant home crowd who are probably going to this thinking, right, this is our opportunity today to get 3 points ahead of the international break. So the earlier, presumably, Leeds can put some pressure on them, and that home crowd, the better.
Yeah, because you can make a crowd change in the first 15-20 minutes of game when the home fans turn, you get a goal, or you're winning your challenges, you're winning your battles. So that's the kind of focus and mentality the lads have got to go into this. Try and nullify the atmosphere at the City ground and get something from that. And then, you know, try and control the game. But I keep coming back to, got to take the chances when we get them. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be a very entertaining game. They've got that new lease of life with the manager. But I see this team in Nottingham Forest in a similar situation when we were in the relegation season, when we went through 3 or 4 different managers. You see a new manager come in, like Ange Postecoglou had gone through, new system, new style. You go to another manager in Daishi, and all of a sudden the players got to take too much overload and on board. So I think today is a really good chance that we can try and capitalise on that.
I think just picking up on sort of the game today as well, the first goal is going to be key for any game, to be fair. When we've got the first goal here, we've been very good and got results. Go to Wolves and get the first goal there and get a real positive 3 points. So today will be a huge mark in the game if we can get the first goal against them, because of that negativity that it might bring and the extra pressure on the home team. We've not been great away from home, coming back from conceding the first goal as well.
Yeah, I mean, without stating the obvious here, obviously they go out with the approach of wanting to get that first goal, but we have had a bit of a run, you know, take the West Ham game out, of conceding the first goal. You don't want that to become a habit, do you, Bridgie? So how do you go from, again, sorry if this is a simple question, but how do you go from going with that mentality to making sure you do it, to not conceding that goal, to stopping it becoming a habit?
It becomes a belief and a resilience that you've got to show that you're never out of a game. And trying to change the trend and starting games better. I think we talked about this a few seasons ago when we're conceding goals and we're having to get ourselves back into games. And thankfully we did find a way. Now I'm going back a few seasons now as well. So you've got to try and get that. And if you nullify that early goal against, I mean, you know, the games are so much more easier. Simon will tell you, when you're conceding the first goal, sometimes it's coach-killing moments. Plans go out the window early doors. That's why the first 15-20 minutes of this game are key that we don't.
It's getting the balance right as well between being too cautious and respecting the opposition too much, that you're sitting back, you're inviting pressure, and all of a sudden you can't snap out of that sort of mentality of trying to protect what you have to start with. So it's playing with your head as well as your heart, but you've still got to have that attacking instinct in you. And when you keep the ball, make sure you don't give it away too quickly, because if you give it away too quickly away from home, opposition are coming at you again, give it away again, they're coming back at you, the crowd are back up for it. So sometimes you don't always have to be really positive in the final third, middle third. It's about keeping the ball and taking the sting out of the game for the home supporters.
Team news today for Leeds United. 2 changes from the defeat at Brighton. Anton Stack comes in for Altanaka, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin has this adductor. Always make sure you say that right. Adductor, that's the name of it. Injury, so is on the bench today, which is good news. That potentially not too serious. It's going to be Nemecha who starts up front. You talked about taking chances. He's got the opportunity to lead the line today.
Yeah, he has, and I think what you'll get from a different side of it is when we haven't got the ball. You know, Aronson, we know Daniel Farke loves him because he's got that pressing instinct. He's always there. He's repeated sprints out through the roof. So much, I think he's got a different dynamic. Playing that role when we're going to be pressing Showman way, and he's going to be the trigger, I think, if we're going to go and do that. Will you get goals? If you get the opportunity, this is your chance. And when I had a really great first season at Leeds United, then I had an injury past, and you're waiting for that opportunity when you're back down the pecking order. You're waiting for that opportunity to come. Now, whether it's a suspension or an injury to the opposition, to your colleagues, you're waiting for. He's got that opportunity now, and the way that you keep your place and your position is by scoring goals, and it's about stats, assists and goals. Forget how good he plays in a game. We want him to have a good game, but at the end of the day, if I'm walking off that field and I'm the striker, I'm saying, did I get an assist, did I get a goal in that game? How did I impact it?
And if you're the manager, presumably you're saying, right, this is your chance, go and take it.
That's simple, isn't it? That you've been waiting. He's probably been knocking on the manager's door all the last few weeks saying, give me a chance to come into the team. Well, once you've got this opportunity now to come into the team, you've got to go and do whatever you can do to show your capabilities. Why at this football club in the first place? You don't want to be classed as a squad player, a bit part player. You want to be the number 1 striker. And if he has an impact on the game today, like he'd like to do, well, that's a nice predicament for Daniel to be in when we come back after the international break.
OK, let's get some thoughts from within the Leeds United camp ahead of kick-off today. 2 o'clock kick-off, of course, down at the City Ground. Let's get the thoughts of Sean Longstaff.
Sean, an important looking fixture for this one. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, really excited. I think anytime you get to come away from home and play against a good side and a good stadium, and it'll be a great atmosphere. So I think it's a game that we should be really excited for.
Been quite a few changes at this football club even since the start of the season. Does that make it hard to work out what you're walking into today?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I also think you sort of know the manager and you've played against these players a lot before, so you sort of know what they're about as well. But for us, it's about focusing on us. Trying to get off to a quicker start than last week, and trying to turn the crowd a little bit and make it as nervy as possible. So we can take a positive result.
Is there a good sense you can get something from this today?
Yeah, I think so, and if there's not, then there's a problem. I think we've got to go into every game and target it as a chance to win points, because ultimately you don't want to run out of time. So for us, it's a game we can definitely target a win, and got full belief in everyone.
There you go, Sean Longstaff giving his thoughts ahead of the game, and you heard it from within the camp themselves. This is a game they're targeting to win, and exactly what you were saying, go out there and quieten down the crowd. That's the message from the players as well, Bridgie. Yeah,
and we've all been in the game, we understand. Simon's managing, he knows what it's like when you go on away matches. I know what it's like as a player, and the best way to get a reaction is to, like you say, that first 15 minutes of games are so crucial. And obviously the seed has been planted by the manager and the coaching staff, because straight away along he's answered exactly what we're talking about. So they know the challenge that they're up for today. Our record against Nottingham Forest is not great. Nottingham Forest's record against teams, newly promoted teams, is outstanding. But stats and records are there to be broken, and that's what we're going to go and do. And I'm confident. I'm confident that we can go there and get something from this game.
The stats are horrendous, Bridgie, when you look at the stats.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention them. I want to mention them briefly, but let's move on.
Do we even mention one, or do we just?
I've just mentioned one about them being good against newly promoted teams.
Fine. If Forest are unbeaten in their last 13 top-flight home games against Leeds, we can leave that for another day. We don't need to mention it right now. Why would we? Why would we?
Like you said, records are there to be broken.
Exactly.
Right?
Sam, let me ask you, because it's interesting there what you're saying about the players. Of course, they've lost to Brighton last week pretty convincingly. Let's be fair, 3-0 down at Brighton. They are a squad that are going to have to get used to losing more games than they did last season in a promotion season. So talk us through how you go from taking a squad of players that are used to winning pretty much every week, which they have been, to adapting to a different league or to a situation or a league campaign where actually you've got to pick yourself up really quickly from defeats and make sure that you are then ready for that next game.
Yeah, I think that comes from the manager. And with Daniel, you look at him and think, well, even last year, his characteristics weren't of somebody who was getting too high when we're winning every week. Yeah. And I don't think on the reverse of that, he's going to be too despondent, too low when we lose games, because that is the reality that we're going to be happening. I think the biggest part is when you play poorly and lose a game that you think, wow, we were really bad today, we should have done better, we let ourselves down. That's when you sort of start to worry about a few things, or the message can be a bit negative transmitted to the players. But I think within the group as well, they'll know when they've played well, when they've not played well. Brighton last week was a game where most people would have expected us to get beat there, because they're a strong, powerful Premier League team. The more disappointing away performance was the Burnley one a couple of weeks before that, where we lose 2-0, and we had a lot of chances, we had possession, but to lose to a rival who haven't spent anywhere near, well, I'm not saying anywhere near like us, but they haven't sort of got the size of club as us and the expectations of where we should be and what we're thinking of doing. So that was a poor performance all around. So today's got to look at and say, right, we've got to go and do what we did at Fulham, what we did at Wolves, start positively, and hopefully we can get a result.
And as a player, we want to win every single game, as the staff and managers do and the fans do. But realistically, if you know you're going from the Championship to the Premier League and you think you're not going to have you're going to get as many wins as you did in the Championship, then you need to go and get an IQ test because it's so hard. The thing that you've got to try and make sure that you do, you're not getting hammered every week, because that can suck the confidence and the life out of you. And I thought the Arsenal game is the only one where we've kind of gone, whoa, hang on. There was a massive void there. That happened to me when I got newly promoted with Sunderland. We went to Chelsea first game of the season. We got smashed 5-1. We were kind of like, whoa, this is the reality hit home as to how tough that season was going to be. We've got ourselves a few points on the board. Our home form is going to be sensational here. And these are the games, like I say, must not lose. And you keep the confidence going from the season before. Okay.
The thoughts of Simon and Bridgie here with us throughout Matchday Live today. Let's get the thoughts of our commentary team who are down there in place and nearly ready to go for kick-off. Here's Brynlaw and Tony Dorigo.
Well, here we are at the City Ground. Weather's okay at the moment. Let's have a quick chat about the team before we talk about the rest. What do you think of the starting 11, Tony?
So Metcher and Stack come in. Metcher clearly has come in because Calvert-Lewin isn't quite right. He's on the bench with his adductor injury. So Metcher gets his chance. But he's big, physical. So I think today that will be important. And Stack is exactly the same. I think he's had one or two minor injuries. He gets his chance again. And I think it'll be really important today to be nice and solid in that midfield area.
Does that give us a clue as to what sort of game we should expect, perhaps?
Sean Dyche, absolutely. That's what we're going to get. They're going to be very organised. They're going to be very physical. They have got ability, so we have to be aware of that as well. But first thing you always need to do is match that physicality.
They've travelled away in Europe in midweek. Does that have any bearing on the fact that we've got this game this afternoon?
I'm going to say yes. You take everything that you can. Of course, it does to a point. But I think Forest will know, and we know how important this game is. This is a chance for us to open the gap up, or for them to catch us up. So it's a huge game. I'd like to say we do not want to be losing this one, but away games are always difficult. And Forest, no doubt, are slightly on the up.
Surely one of the key elements to eradicate today is this habit of going behind in the game, often quite early as well.
And it's really difficult to then recover from that. So it is important we make a good start, a solid start. Again, you can't win or lose a game early on, but it just makes it either a lot more difficult if you do concede. We need to be better, of course, in that last third as well. Anytime we get the opportunity, whether it's a free kick, a corner kick, be that threat, because that's where we need to somehow, get those goals that we need to try and at least get a point, hopefully win the game.
Absolutely. Hopefully that is the outcome. Big game ahead here.
Yeah, and Brendan Tony will bring you your commentary from 2 o'clock today here on Matchday Live. Let's just focus a little bit on the opponents today, Nottingham Forest. And I'll come to you first, because from a managerial point of view, I mean, they've had a crazy season so far. They had that great season last year under Nuno. He goes, Ange's in, Ange's out. I mean, it was a terrible run of games under him, and the owner chops. And then in comes your pal, Sean Dyche there. What's he going to be doing in that first? I guess he would have come in and looked at this international break coming and say, right, what do you try and do? You try and stabilise, you try and pick up a group of players who are on a terrible run of form. What do you do when you're going into a club in that kind of situation? Give us a bit of an insight.
I think what you try and do is try and get the morale going. You I know Sean really well, and his first port of call will be to use his man management skills, get around the players, work out who's a little bit downer than the others, how can get the love back into them, the joy of it as well. Because when you look at them on paper, they've got some real talented players. When you've got like Anderson and Gibbs-White, Hudson-Odoi, there's some quality players in that. And they've obviously underachieved this year, probably overachieved the year before. But I think Sean is the right appointment for them at this moment in time. He's got connections with the football club. You've basically got to go back to basics. We've seen that they've changed the system of play, the style of football that Sean will bring different to Big Ange and Nuno before that, and it's about playing to the strength of the players that you've got. Somebody like Chris Wood was on fire last season and not really being utilised. They've not utilised his strengths this season as well. So, yeah, on paper they've got some real talented players, but football's an emotional sport, and they'll be under pressure. I know we spoke about this before, and feeling it that they have to get a result today, and that's where, as a manager, you've got to try and get the best out of your group of players and breed that confidence towards them and take them small steps to get back to where you want to get to.
And from a playing point of view, Bridgie, having different managers come in, different styles as well. I mean, the Ange style so different to the style that we're playing before, and then obviously we've seen already, you just look at the stats now in terms of how many long balls they're playing, for example. 4th fewest before Dyche comes in under Postecoglou, now 2nd most in the league, I think, behind Brentford. So there's an immediate style. From the players, at least if you were the club with the same manager, you've got a consistency in what you're doing. Here it's just chopping and changing all over the place.
Well, they've gone from one complete identity in the previous manager, defensively playing counter-attacking football, which it worked, to going for a man I know very well, Ange Postecoglou, that goes the complete opposite. It's all pressing, it's all playing out, long balls are at a minimum. Can you try and work through the thirds? So the players, the tactic change, and that obviously did not work. He didn't have long enough to adapt and change the mindset of the players to buy into it. Now they've gone back to something else and they're going under Sean Dyche, and as you say, the stats now, longer balls, it's percentage football in the final third, wouldn't it? But they've got key players, like Simon said. So if the players can get on board, I think the characteristics that Dyche brings is he's going to buy into. The players are going to want to play for him. I've seen a few clips. He's got that he's charismatic, isn't he? He gets the buy-in straight away. But the players that we've got to be worried about, Gibbs White on the ball, Elliot Anderson in front of the back four. But I still think this team, with all the tactical changes, the players, your mindset, you kind of, you forget where you are in certain parts of the game. And I think Williams and Savona, both the fullbacks of this team, that's their weakness. So if we can get Okafor going, we can get Aronson going down into their channels, because they're so tight and narrow, and Elliot Anderson's been doing a great job in front of their back four. So key areas out wide, cross the ball in, and got to get players on the end of it.
I think what Dicey does in any teams that he is very pragmatic as a coach. He plays to the strength of the players that he's got, and as I mentioned before, they've got Gibbs White, Hudson-Odoi, Elliot Anderson. They have people. They're key players at the top end of the pitch, so he's not frightened of getting the ball forward a lot quicker than other people, 10-yard, 15-yard passes, etc. He'll say to the players, make sure you play if it's on to play, but if it's not, we play no risk, we play in the opposition's half. We get the ball as quickly as possible with the quality that we've got to our key players, and that's Gibbs White and Hudson-Odoi and Anderson as well in that midfield area. So he's very pragmatic in what he wants to do.
You mentioned the full-backs, and in terms of Noah Okafor, one of our most creative players. If there's a player that looks like he's going to unlock something, Absolutely. Maybe create a little bit of magic, you think this could be his day today?
I'd like to think so, because the more times we can get the ball at his feet, like you say, leading and dribbles with the ball, leading and crosses and stuff like that. So get him in the right areas of the field with the ball at his feet running. It's defender's nightmare. And you always know, when we talk about winning battles, if people think, oh, you've got to go and win your first attack and things, it's not. It's about if you're in a one-on-one situation, I've got you one-on-one, I'm going to skin you. You know that for a fact.
I'll be the first to admit.
You can't go past it. You're in
the later stage of your career here, Bridgie, I ain't winning that one.
But it's there the key battle. And when we talk about it's can you win your individual battles? So one-on-one, I've got to try and make sure I beat you. It's not just heading and tackling, there's things like that. And he's got to make sure as the defender, he's not letting Okafor go past him. So these are all the things. But I think it can be his day.
OK, we're going to attempt a one-on-one now. Whilst you hear from Daniel Farker. Come on, Bridgie, let's see what you got, pal. Come on, let's go.
By the way, I'm not...
Stage of the season, you shouldn't interpret too much into the fixtures, because in the end, if it would be whatever, game day 36, and there is a team who is around us anyhow, you could interpret more into it. So you never know where Nottingham, for example, will be at the end of the season. Last season they qualified for Europe. Could also be that in a few months' time they are in mid-table or even close to where they finished last season. So for that, I wouldn't interpret too much into it. It's just another opportunity to win points. So on this level, as the newly promoted side, you always have to be at the best, at the top of your game, in order to give yourself a chance to win some points. It's the same right now. Away at Nottingham is a difficult fixture for us, so we have to prepare in the best possible way, and then to try to win as many points as possible. Of course, every point that you win on this level is huge. In the end, you need probably 9 wins in order to stay in this league. We are on 3 wins. We're on a good path, but we know 3 wins won't be enough. We need to win more games, and additionally, you also need 9 or 10 draws. Yeah, we are on 2 draws. We also need to add a few more draws. So each and every point counts, and for that, it's another opportunity for us to win some points. But I'm also sure that Nottingham and Sean also will want to win the points. So I expect also a tight game, complicated game, but we want to be back to our best again. It's a side with these players. Of course, they had a few outgoings, but also really, really good quality incomings, I have to say. They were able to qualify for Europe, and we don't have to speak about the quality of the players. I think they have high individual quality in all positions, in all options. So for me, it's definitely a side who can deliver top performances on this level and win many points. And last season has proved this, and I think they have the quality in order to be in this region. There's no doubt about this. Of course, there was lots of ongoing and lots of noise outside, but then also like a very experienced manager like Sean Dyche. I think with this experience, he will bring also calmness more or less into this group. And when this comes together, high quality players, and also a manager who is experienced and brings calmness, and is always normally a good setup to win many points. So we want to make sure that this doesn't start more or less like it test start before. They had also good results, also good first win under him. But we want to make sure that this doesn't happen in the league on the weekend because we want to win the points. But it's definitely a side who will, under Sean, be very competitive and also then deliver definitely honest work, and they will be on it against the newly promoted side to win their home game. So for that, I expect, like you said, a complicated game, but every game day on this level is complicated. So for that, we have to be on it. But if we play to our strength, then we also will have a chance.
Daniel Farke echoing what you guys have been saying, playing to the shreds. I'm not sure what kind of a game we're going to get today, whether it might be quite cagey from the off or whether it's going to be fairly open to see the players getting ready to go. Bridgie, quickly on that, your thoughts on how this one might pay out?
It's going to be more cagey for Nottingham Forest, the situation they're in. Yes, they're at home, but if, like I say, that first start will get in their faces, make them get some errors inside of them, and obviously turn their crowd. I think it's going to be very, very close. Simon knows that she's going to have it very, very tight. We've got to make sure we're tight, and when the opportunities come, we've got to take them. I think there'll be goals. I'm hoping it's a 1-1 or 2-2.
I think with Forest now, with Sean in charge, he'll want to play in our defensive third. He'll want to be asking questions. He'll want the crowd to be up. He'll want them to be not messing around at the back, but play with some quality, get it to them front strikers and get us on the back foot. And we've got to be strong physically and mentally in this opening 10-15 minutes. And when we do get possession of the ball, we make sure that we don't give it away too cheaply, because, as I said earlier, give it away, it's another attack coming, the crowd will get more buoyant and more positive. So we've got to withstand that, and if we can get that first goal, as I mentioned earlier, it's going to be crucial.
Set play is key today. Nottingham Forest is very vulnerable from set plays.
Nottingham Forest haven't gone. They've gone 18 games where they've conceded a goal. Leeds just the 3 away from home. So which way is this one going to go? We're going to cross over now because it is Remembrance Sunday, of course, for those pre-match ceremony, and then we'll hand to our commentary team of Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.
So here we are at the City Ground, and the two teams have just